engage in so many of the things that the partner was engaging in, and then the partner starts freaking out that you're pulling away from me, etc., etc. So that's why in this path we have two different dynamics. It's not to say one is better than the other one. If you're geared to have relationship and children and whatever you're having, that's fine too. It's absolutely fine. And if you're geared to be celibate, you know, and you want to do that internal journey, you know, and you ready to do it rapidly, then that's another thing as well. So.
And it might even be someone is celibate for many years and then discover that it's time to have a relationship, or vice versa. It's possible.
Anything's possible. That's all. Anything's possible.
I don't have any strictures in regards to this, so when I teach, I just basically treat everyone the same, only because it's the way I do it.
Yeah.
It's neither better nor worse than your approach.
No, it's just different approaches. Every teacher's got a different approach. That's all.
That's it.
That's all. What might work here, you know, might work here fine for some and won't work at all for others, you know, and what might work well for some that you're working with others, it might not work for them at all. Same thing. Not one methodology or one teacher is going to be right for every student. That's the reality of it. That's why we have many different paths, many different modalities. Because there are many different people on the planet. There's many different consciousness and things that they're going through, and things they can hear and things they can't hear. So, that's all.
Such a beautiful silence that when we stop talking, there's just that fullness.
Yeah. That's why Ramana's best teaching was silence. Then the words don't get in the way. Words are a headache.
But if you don't speak, then people go on imagining what they came in with.
Yes, sometimes,
So
yes.
it's good to talk.
Yeah, up to a point, yeah, maybe.
Maybe. But it is time for the feminine to come forth and reassert itself in the field even of human philosophical understandings, metaphysical, religious. We've been in the grip of patriarchy for many, many centuries.
Yeah.
And so I see the birth of the Shakti now, teachers like you who are coming forward talking freely and openly about the Kundalini and its place in realization. I see you as being part of the pioneering movement toward restructuring our understanding, not always in favor of a non-active absolute, but also in terms of the validity and the beauty and the necessity of the play of nature that is also to be loved.
Oh, exactly. It's not two. It's not separate one from the other.
They're identical.
They're identical.
Nirvana
One is
and
motion,
samsara.
the other is not motion. That's the only difference.
That's the only difference.
Yeah, it's the only difference. One is in motion and the other is not in motion.
So the ultimate state is a union between Shiva and Shakti.
Yeah, it's when realization takes place and everything falls away. In the midst of action is inaction. In the midst of sound is silence. They're no longer separate. It's not two. It's no longer either sound or silence. Whereas before, in persona, there's either silence or there's sound. But there weren't the equal. But after realization...
Some water for Swami?
Yeah, I'm kind of... After realization... In the midst of all sound is also silence. It's no longer two.
Good. Yes, that's very important.
Thank you.
Want to take a break? Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, the throat mechanism is not working so well at the moment, but that's okay. It's only the body. It's just the vehicle. chemical's gonna do what it's gonna do sometimes, you know, what are you gonna do? So we've had a very good time today.
Exquisite. We had a beautiful lunch, and I thank you for the invitation
Oh, I thank you.
to come to San Francisco and meet with you. It's not often that I get such invitations. If anything, I get hate mail. So I was very startled when Hridaya wrote me a letter saying, may we meet? And I said, oh, well, of course. Of course.
Well, you said one time, in the far back time, your teachers come sit with me, and
Yes.
I always take them up on that,
Yes,
you know? I mean,
yes.
if I'm in the area, I will come sit
Good.
with you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
I think it's a mutual honor, and I think we both feel the same.
I think it's gone really well today, and it usually does. Usually when you get teachers and they get together, you have a lot of laughter. I've met Shanti Mai before. We had a lot of laughter, and just, you know, you look at and you try to talk about, usually the conversation comes around to how can we explain this to people? How can we, you know, better further their understanding? What words can be used, because words are so minimal. You know, words are so,
Yes, inadequate.
it's so inadequate. It's so difficult, because you may say one word and 10 people will have 10 different connotations around it. And so it's really difficult to come to a meeting of the minds, because everybody's experience is different. And their conditioned ideas are different. And so their ideas about any word are going to be different. So it's very difficult to come up with a neutral language that's not filled with all sorts of, you know, tough things.
There is no
you know,
neutral
there is
language.
no neutral language. We need a neutral language.
Silence.
Yeah, silence.
That's neutral.
That's the only one we have.
But
That's
how do you
neutral.
get the understanding to come into this unless you start to converse?
That's the problem.
So you need, I
We
always
have
try
a
to get,
catch-22 here,
Yes.
between a rock and a hard place. You have to use language to try to break through the mind, to get it to a point where it can still, and they can let go of some of these things, and the mind can start to enter the quietude.
have you ever had someone not even hear what you said? You can say
Oh, yeah.
something and they come out with a radically different
Oh,
understanding.
yeah.
Sometimes 10 people purport 10 different teachings I gave in the same evening.
Exactly. Exactly, that's the problem, because they're all hearing through their conditioning, and it's filtering through all of their, you know, experiences. And so, yeah, this is the problem.
The ancient
This-
philosopher Heraclitus said that even though the Logos is one, each person lives as though they exist in a private reality.
Exactly. And that's what has to be broken through, that private reality, to come back to prior to that experience.
That's good for today, huh?
I think that's good. We'll
Namaste.
leave it at that.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.